everyone. Welcome to this. Well, we've called it Sometime After Trek as a bit of a joke, haven't we? And just like to introduce, we got guests. We got guests today. Thank you so much for joining us, Damien. Damien is known as the Irish Trekkie.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure.
I love talking about Trek.
We got guests. We got guests today. Thank you so much for joining us, Damien. Damien is known as the. Get rid of that. And we have Rob, known as Trekkie Rob from Twitter, and you also run the Trek Book Club.
That's right. Hi, thanks for having me on.
And Trekkie Girl Carol.
Yay, hello. And of course, Trekkie Girl Sam.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been we felt a bit left out, didn't we, from the disco party in the States last night. Those lucky people. So we wanted to have our own disco party and our own tweet along and watch it together. And oh my god, how much fun!
That was
too much fun.
What first impressions?
Yeah, speechless. It's amazing.
Just can't wait for season 2.
Yeah, season
so
2.
Excited.
Oh my god.
Well, I think we have to talk about that ending first, because I know you're supposed to start at the beginning of a review, but I was not expecting that.
No. After so much darkness, to have such an upbeat ending, and then that. Oh.
Okay,
it was nice.
Spoiler alerts. If you're here watching this, I'm going to spoil the shit out of it for you.
No, you hit on a good one there. It was very nice to have such a positive wrap up, in Paris. And what a cliffhanger as well.
Yeah. Can I just say, are those all Star Trek ships behind you?
Yes. Yes, I have a number of ships.
Sorry, that's a thing of beauty, I have to say.
Head over to my YouTube channel if you want to see reviews. Shameless plug.
Shameless plugs are perfectly welcome here. Carol, you're spot on with the whole, it was the whole series has just been like bam, bam, bam. There's been cliffhanger after cliffhanger. It's been emotionally tense. And then all of a sudden there's just this beaming ray of light at the end of it, where they actually it's like the moment in the cave, and Burnham's like, oh no, I've just had enough. Let's just talk our way out of this situation. All the ships are ready to go to war, and we've had so many epic space battles and physical fights, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, this just has to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is Starfleet.
We are Starfleet.
That is Starfleet. I cried when I was watching that. It was just so moving.
Absolutely. What do you think of? Let's take a look at some of the characters, shall we? Who do you think was the best performance?
Oh, it's got to be Michael, isn't it? Surely.
I think so.
I really like Lorel in this as well. She was brilliant. And the way they all the Klingons laughed at her, and she just held up, you could laugh at me, or
yeah. I think for me, it's been such a journey over the last 15 episodes that it's so personal that we've come to know all these characters. But for me, the standout in this episode was Michelle Yeoh, because she's had such short time to develop Auntie Giorgio, and just her way and demeanor on the bridge and everything. It was just awesome. And we've only seen her for only a few episodes, and she's really nailed both Giorgios very well.
Yeah.
Carol, what do you think?
I was actually going to say Ash. I thought seeing him actually leave Michael was really brave, really bold move, and his performance throughout has been, really good. See the inner turmoil going on. I like that.
What did you think about Ash leaving Michael? I wasn't expecting that, and I wasn't expecting much in that episode. I wasn't expecting much. I wasn't expecting what happened in that episode.
No.
I wasn't expecting Ash to leave Michael or Starfleet and go with the Klingons. But now I think, looking back at it, I think actually that makes sense. You know, he killed coal bullets. You know, I know they've been very high and mighty about it and rational, reasonable, and I praise them for that. But that still is carried with both him and the crew of the Discovery. What do you think is going to happen to Ash? Do you think we'll still see a lot of him? Thank God they didn't kill Laurel, by the way. Things would have got ugly here.
I think we will see Ash again. Or maybe I should say, I hope we see Ash again.
Yeah,
I don't think we will. I think that obviously it was one of the big arcs in season 1. You know, it started with the beginning of the war. It's ended with the beginning. And I think it was a good move story-wise for him and an unexpected move for him to go with Laurel. But, you know, genetically he's Vok. He's not Tyler, even though his memories are. So he is completely like a man at sea. He's nowhere to go. So it was clever. But I think because they've wrapped up that Klingon arc, maybe it's time for the Disco to go off and, you know, go exploring while that all works itself out in the background as well. So potentially, that's the way I see it anyway.
Rob, any thoughts on the Michael and Tyler?
Yeah, I think we'll see him again. I like the idea that he's bringing a little bit of Starfleet into the Klingon Empire. You know, maybe he'll bring that, you know, those principles, those ideals, and try and inject them into the Klingons. And I like the pairing of Laurel and Tyler. I think they're going to make an awesome pairing. I think we're going to see him again. Maybe not as often as we did in season 1, but yeah, I hope we see him again.
What about there were so many tidbits for fans in that episode. Lots of little hidden gems. What was your favourite, Rob?
Oh God, where to start? What did I like? I liked. Oh, I really can't think of it.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah, come back to me. Come back to me.
Damien, what did you think?
It was absolutely chock-a-block with some fantastic detail. Like from the get-go, seeing the SETI Alpha creatures on the frying pan to
that's what it was.
You know,
oh my God, I totally missed that.
So like I'd say you'd have to watch that episode itself like 3 times, because there's always been so many little Easter eggs in all of them. For the diehard fans, that it would just go over the head for, you know, people who are watching it for the first time. But when they go back, they'll go, there you go. But like that was just the start of countless ones in that episode, and obviously to end with the old girl herself, the old new girl. Wow, you know, wow.
Carol?
Mine was, it's not like a hidden little Easter egg, but I like the fact that the Orions had their black hair and they were all horny again.
Yes.
I like that. The return of the proper Orions. I liked it.
But just to talk about Orions for a second. Oh yeah, I was also really pleased that they looked like they looked much more like the Orions from the original series, didn't they? And there was a blended well between Enterprise Orions and TOS Orions, and kind of not so much the JJ verse ones. But yeah, I mean, cosplaying Orions now, I'm like, no songs, thank you.
Costume though, you know.
Sorry?
Costume.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think so, no. Rob, have you thought of your moment yet?
Yeah, I think you've pretty much said what I can think of. That you've seen the Orions, seeing the Enterprise at the end, and seeing the Discovery, and the theme tune at the end. That was cool.
Oh yes, the theme tune.
That was really cool. And I think
I was crying so much then.
Yeah, I think one of you might have tweeted at the beginning. There was did they have was it the Klingons? I think they said something that's usually said by. I can't remember someone.
Previously in Star Trek Discovery,
Yeah,
it was
that's
a
it.
Klingon. Yeah, that
That
was
was cool.
awesome.
That was cool. I like that.
Yeah, I think for me, I think it was. What's his name? Is it Clint Howard? Is that his name? Played
Clint
Balak.
Howard, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was amazing cameo. I jumped up my seat at that point.
Oh, and
I love that.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, wasn't there a little reference to was it not that I've seen that much of TOS, but was it bread and circuses?
Oh, yeah, they did say yes. I couldn't think about it. Yes,
Tiny little, yeah. But anyway,
yeah. The Corbomite maneuver is my most favourite TOS episode, so I was delighted to see Balak. And what else did I like? I've got to check out whether it's real or not, but I'm sure they said when Georgiou was saying to Tilly about their history together, she said something about they invaded Beta Z, and they said, I'm sure she said Mintaka 3.
yes.
I have to check that, but I thought that's from Who Watches the Watchers.
Yeah,
if
I
it
think
is.
so, yeah.
That rings a bell. Yeah, definitely.
So many Easter eggs.
I was really fearful for Tilly at certain parts. There was different people at different times. I was really fearful they were going to get the.
Yeah, I no one died. I was not expecting that. I was expecting people to die. I thought Cornwell had it. Laurel, I've been worried about because she's been announced for some conventions next year. And when I was the same with Jason Isaacs, wasn't I? As soon as they get announced for conventions, I'm like, why do they know that they're free?
Reading between the lines.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you think about I really enjoyed the whole dialogue about the soldier and the general, and actually it kind of tied together the whole series 1 storyline in a way that she said fear speaks very fast and very loud, and that made me think actually that's been the theme of the whole first series, isn't it? It's just been fear driven. Yeah, I wonder if you picked up on any themes from the whole series arc that you felt came together in this episode, or if there's anything you want to say about the story arc overall.
I think it's a story of redemption. Michael's journey from feeling like, because I think Michael gets a badder book than she really deserved, but her betrayal at the beginning to the point at the end where, to begin with, she took a desperate measure and it didn't pay off and war was started. At the end, she turns to diplomacy, to the proper Star Trek ideals, and redeems her and ends the war. Story of redemption.
See that?
Yeah.
Yep.
For me, I'd 100% agree with that. Plays a huge part in the series, but I think another complementary theme in the series is identity. Who are we? Through adversity, when everything goes to hell, do we lose ourselves, or do we actually see who we are? And when you look at that, and that's on both sides, who are the Klingons? Who are the Federation? And then all of these individuals, like who is Ash? Michael's journey back, she's finding herself. And even like Sarek, like it's pretty much a race for identity throughout the whole series. And again, like we are Starfleet, we are Klingons. And I just think that's great because to introduce the war, like literally the first episode, and to finish with it, it got really bad. And to go to the mirror universe as well, to see ourselves in different lights as well, which was talked about too. And going back to the Federation ideals, like we won't cross that line no matter what the justification is, as in there is no justification to lose who you are. And that was all wrapped up with Michael's speech at the end, and Sarek going home, and Amanda and everything. It was so good, so good.
Great insight. Thank you for sharing that. Is there anything you want to add, Bob?
I like the whole. I think you probably already said it already, but the whole hope, optimism, principles over, triumphing over fear and cynicism, and which is quite apt for the times in which we live. And the whole. I know I'm taking a quote from another popular franchise, but I think in the recent Star Wars film there was a scene where they said, I think it was protecting what we love rather than fighting what we hate. And I think that fits quite well with this episode. They realise, it's not about obliterating the Klingons and saving themselves. It's about actually sticking to their principles. And that scene on the Discovery Bridge where they all stand up, it's like, oh, that was brilliant.
I know.
You wanted to stand up with them.
No, I've got such a Star Trek hard on right now. It's like, today I really feel like proud to be a Star Trek fan and proud to be part of this fandom. And and that scene just kind of reminded me of being a kid again, watching Star Trek. That kind of watching my crew was the TNG bridge, watching them on the bridge, watching that camaraderie. There was a bit in Discovery. There was Saru, was it Saru? No, before Saru came on the bridge, I think it was Tilly and
Stamets.
Burnham and someone else. Sarah came into it, but they're just watching them talk. I think it was Stamets, wasn't it? Yeah, Stamets. It was watching them talk on the bridge. It was like those old TOS days with Bones, Spock and McCoy. Bones, Spock and Kirk. And just seeing that, and that's what season 1 I think has been about. Is about like you said, Damien, about that coming together, finding out who they are. And I'm feeling like part of it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a Trekkie. That's who I am.
Yeah. I love how they're starting to become a proper crew now. It felt like there was a few that we knew really well, but we didn't really know anyone else. As well, now it's starting to, they're starting to come together really nicely. And also, I didn't mention, I know you didn't see a huge amount of him in this episode, but Saru's growth and his confidence and, in the beginning when he was looking up that list of captains and wanted to, try and emulate them, and actually he's become a brilliant captain on his own.
That's a really good way of looking at it. Actually, that Saru's coming to his own by himself, and with the support of his crew. Actually, let's just talk about Saru. I mean, I just thinking about those promotions. It was great at the end to see Burnham get her command back and Tilly become an ensign and all this. And then I've just been thinking about it the last hour, and I think, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hang on. This is the biggest fuck you in Starfleet career history to these people. Because actually, Kirk watched Vulcan get destroyed. He did not save Vulcan. Vulcan got blown up, and Kirk kind of like, oh, I didn't catch the bomb. and he cheated on the test, the
Kobayashi
Maru, thank you, Carol. He cheated on that, and he gets promoted to captain of the Enterprise. Ensign Tilly, well done for saving Kronos and Earth, and and then okay, Burnham getting command back, that was pretty generous, so I'll give them that. But yeah, Saru deserved the captaincy then.
Really?
Do you think
was he
going to see a captain?
Was he not commander beforehand?
He was acting captain. He was commander. So we got
commander at the Discovery. Yeah.
If they've all got promotions, so he's not got a promotion. Is that right?
No, he didn't get promoted. No, he didn't get eaten.
He got the Medal of Honor.
That's harsh.
But what I will say for that though is, yes, Tilly became an ensign, Stamets became a lieutenant commander, Michael was reinstated, but it is realistic, I think, that he didn't just inherit the captaincy. Like, he's been through a lot, but he's only captain since the Lorca shenanigans not that long ago. And for me, Star Trek Discovery has been really, I know it's science fiction, but it's been handled really realistically, like the way the ship operates and the interactions as well. So I think they've kind of kept in their realm of reality, that he's still acting captain. But listen, we haven't got to Vulcan yet, though. So let's hold out for that for a moment.
This is true. I am expecting, like a Commander Riker stuck at the shopping mall, like encountering Farpoint, just on the view screen, like, we're on our way, Captain. Honestly.
I like it. But yeah.
I love the exchanges between Saru and Georgiou and Michael and Georgiou. That was brilliant.
There was so much comedy in this episode. You can feel the shift, can't you? I mean, it's been funny from the beginning, but the oh my god, Tilly when she walked in and saw Jojo and brilliant.
Oh, when Tilly was high, oh my god.
Hi Tilly, that was brilliant.
Shame on you.
And she was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Comedy girl. Who I feel really sorry for? I feel sorry for all the haters out there. I just take a minute to think of all the haters. Me and Carol and we call them the STD brigade. Just feel really bad for them just for a moment because they're missing out so bad.
The thing is that they all watch the show anyway. Most of them.
I know they're all on your Facebook group every day.
They give out about it, like so. You listen, whatever gets you up in the morning. But yeah, I think it's been a great win for Star Trek, and I think it's testament to them as well, because following the announcement way back when in SDCC to now, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Things have changed. Captains have changed within the production team as well, and I really think they pulled out a solid, and in my opinion, one of the strongest first seasons of a lot of Star Trek out there. And it still is the first season, only 15 episodes, so I wouldn't judge it too harshly. It's still maturing and has a long way to go, but we need to give it time and support it.
Yeah, I think when you look back at all the other season ones, I mean, I haven't watched, the only one I haven't watched completely is TOS season 1, I know. So, yeah, don't judge me. But I think this is really, really strong, if not the strongest season 1. That's for me, anyway.
Oh no, I agree. Especially considering it's only 15 episodes long, and
yeah,
I think it really found its feet in after its mid-season finale. I think it became what more people think is pure Trek after that point. But yeah, it's been a really strong opening season.
If you think about, sorry now for interrupting there, but if you look at Discovery season 1 in this perspective, right? We had episode 1 and 2 was more of a prologue. It was, who's the main character, give a bit of her background. Then we have the introduction to the Discovery, which is almost like the premiere. So we have the crew. And obviously it turns out that their captain is not from this universe and he's Mirror all along. So then we actually almost have a second premiere when that speech happens in engineering where this is our ship, this is our maiden voyage. And the whole Federation isms go up a notch again. So people who were saying like, that's not how they would have done it. That's not Starfleet, that's not Trek. Yeah, because it wasn't. So it's had like these 3 chapters in it to come to fruition in episode 15 as well.
On the story with that episode, how do you feel that I'm thinking about the 9-month jump, the Discovery jump 9 months into the future. How pertinent do you feel that was to the story looking back at it? Do you think that was necessary for them to jump so far into the future? Not so far into the future, but into the future.
I think so, because I think they had the information that was the turning tide in the war. The pivotal part of this episode is the desperation of the Federation. That's where they're pushed to such extreme measures. If they had the information back 9 months ago, at that point.
Lost you a bit there, Carol.
Oh, sorry.
So we just lost you at the end, but I think we got the gist of what you're saying, that it was pertinent because of the desperation.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And especially from where they came from, like the mirror universe. They found who they were over there again, the Federation ideals, and then they're coming back to almost a very similar universe that they weren't expecting at all, where thousands upon thousands of lives lost, and as you say, like desperate hours, desperate measures. They're the ones, they're like the beacons to hold true to their ideals and come to the rescue. So the 9 months, it was clever. It was clever storytelling.
Great. Thinking about the Enterprise. Let's go back to the Enterprise again. What do you think is going to happen in season 2? Are we going to see the Enterprise crew? Who do you want to see? What do you want to see happen with that storyline? Can I start with Carol?
I don't think we'll see much of the crew. I think we'll see maybe 1 or 2 characters, because I think it'd be hard to recast everyone again. So
I'm trying to think who. If we think about who is actually on the Enterprise, I understand from what I recall off the top of my head, it would be Pike, Spock be on there, and number 1.
Yeah.
Possibly. I mean, I guess there's no way to know when they came on board, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, we know Pike's there. I think Spock is there with them. Guys, do you know any, Rob or Damien, do you know offhand if there's any other information that might expressly say who's on that ship? But as far as I know, there's a possibility of Spock and number 1 being on that ship.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the timeline. It'd be 2257, isn't it? Or 58, 57, 58.
But
potentially, yeah. Like, obviously, we know Pike is there because he's the captain of the Enterprise, as confirmed on the screen there. We'll have number 1 as well. But yeah,
I'm sure
there's a door
in the
open.
Menagerie. Sorry, I think in the Menagerie, Spock said how long he'd served under Pike for, but I can't remember that number. But it can easily be looked up, I'm sure.
Yeah. Someone in chat tell us.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to see what they do. You know, the distress call or distress message coming in from the Enterprise leads us into episode 1 of season 2. But what a glorious introduction! I loved the music tie-in with the swelling music with the Enterprise swooping in to face off with the Discovery. It was gorgeous, and nicely designed ship. You know, I think it surprised a lot of people because again, that was a lot of the topic of early Discovery. The visual cues off it weren't to most people's liking at the time. So I'm curious to know what people think about the Enterprise now.
Rob, you want to add to that?
I'm sorry, I was distracted by looking at people's comments on the chat.
What are they saying? I can't even. Where have they gone? I shut it off when that was bad.
Let me have a look.
Have you got any questions? Or?
I think there was a few. Zuma 1979 said, "Do you think it's done enough to attract new fans to the franchise?"
Absolutely. To be fair, I can't answer that. I'm an old fan. I don't know. Rob, you're probably are you fairly new to the franchise? You said you hadn't seen some of the.
I've seen the only one I haven't really seen all of is TOS. So I started watching let's say 90, 96, 97. So yeah, kind of beginning of
You're
PS9.
not new. You're not new.
No, I had a long gap in my and then I'll come back to it. But yeah, I mean, surely it seems to have. There's some people. I mean, it's always going to be that way. There's some people that clearly don't like it, and they were almost, not determined not to like it, but yeah, they wanted this, and they weren't going to get this, so therefore they didn't like it. But then, surely it's brought in a huge influx of new fans. which will keep the franchise going, because you can't always stay the same. You've got to change, you know, to a certain degree. Yeah.
I think the storytelling alone, if you've never watched Star Trek before, this would be a fantastic TV series, just standalone. I've been texting a friend of ours, friend of Carol and mine's friend, Vicky. I've been texting her today saying, watch Star Trek. Like I said, you will love the characters. You will love Tilly. Like people who don't watch Star Trek will love Tilly. You know, she's a relatable person. And the storylines, you know, that they have a lot of connectability in it, even though it's just so fantastic, this world that they've created. It's you know, you put what things you watch on Netflix these days are world class, and Discovery's at the top of that, I believe. So yeah, I think it does offer a lot for new fans. I think it's harder to attract old fans. I still can't get my dad to watch it. He's an old Trekkie. He's like, I'm not watching that. They're hard people to get on board.
Yeah, like I'm watching it with my wife, who's not a Trekkie, and she really likes it. And she's not suffering with not having Star Trek background. You know, she knows the odd thing from me talking about TOS and Deep Space Nine, Voyager and stuff like that. But she's really invested in the characters and likes the story, and just happens to be in a science fiction setting. But that's kind of testament to the writing as well, because like we've talked about the war a lot. The way I see Discovery is there's this big epic sandbox, you know, space, Starfleet, the war, but it's been a very personal story arc for people like Ash and Tilly and Saru. Like you've mentioned them before, the evolution of the characters as well. So you can sometimes forget about where they are because the writing is so good, and that's just testament to the people like Ted Sullivan and Erica and Bowie, to name but a few of the amazing talents on the show as well.
Yeah, excellent points. Excellent points. So we were having lots of discussions on very serious points. I have to talk about Klingon dicks. I just can't.
How many streams were there?
Sorry. Did you get that impression? Have I just read too much into this? Did you guys think, hang on a minute, they're talking about Klingons having two penises?
It could be alluded to.
I must have completely. I was clearly too busy tweeting. I must have missed this. What was the scene where this? What?
Well, there's the first scene. There's the scene in the episode where we first meet Ash Tyler, and he's in prison with Lorca, and Ash says something that him and I think this was the scene. He said, "Oh, you know, you don't have enough, you know," and he never says what, but he implies that that Klingon males have two dicks. At least that's what I took from it. So I kind of took that and put it in the back of my mind, thinking, probably shouldn't say that out loud. And then in this episode, when they beam down to the Klingon planet, which looked incredible, by the way, how good did Kronos look? And then you see a Klingon peeing, and there's two streams coming out.
I must have I completely missed that.
I saw that too.
You saw it?
Yeah.
So I'm like, Klingons do have two dicks. Oh my god, this just opens up. Like I went to the talk in Vegas with the costume designer makers, Neville Page and
Glenn Hetrick.
Glenn Hetrick, yeah. Brilliant presentation, all about the anatomy of Klingons, how they designed them, and it was all from like the inside out, what makes sense. And we know Klingons, they have like 8-chambered hearts and stuff like that, and they did not say Klingons have two dicks. That would have been I don't know, I just think that's the sort of thing that would interest a crowd at Vegas. I
wonder how you announce that at a convention.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a whole panel about it next convention.
Definitely raise an eyebrow or two.
Sorry, Gareth.
Oh no! I would say next convention you have to ask that question. Someone has to.
It's all I'm asking about.
Hot topic.
Right, we got any, before we wrap up, we got any questions from? Oh look, we're all talking about the Klingon dicks now. Wait a minute, this is such a good suggestion. Marina Sirtis is number 1. Oh my god, love that idea.
Some people were asking about. They're saying, I'm interested in casting ideas for the Enterprise. So yeah, I wonder who would you like to see?
Ooh.
Which actors?
See, who played Pine in Star Trek in the movies? Pine, not Chris Pine.
Oh, who played Pike in the movies? Is it Greenwood?
Carol, you'll know. Who played?
Yeah, I can't remember it. I'm sorry.
All of them live on the internet. You know, all bring the actor who played Pike in Star Trek was superb. He'd probably be a bit too. I don't really have any opinions on that. I really can't say. It has to be Zachary Quinto with Spock's on board. That's the only option.
I'm got my fingers crossed. Maybe not necessarily on the Enterprise, but seeing Jeffrey Combs on in some alien role, that would be cool.
Heck yes, absolutely.
That'd be cool. I think Bruce Greenwood is your man's name.
That's who I'm looking for. Thank you, Damien.
I don't know. I love having the Enterprise there, and I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it. Personally, I hope they don't go into it too much, that it's kind of almost like a handshake. There's maybe a scenario that the Discovery can assist on. We'd more than likely see Pike, but I don't know if we'll actually see anyone else because I don't know. I think it kind of takes away from the identity of Discovery because the Enterprise is such the keystone of everything within the universe. But it'd be interesting to see who they would cast, though. Yeah, we'll see in a year. Oh,
I've got a question about the Enterprise. What uniforms will they be in? Because I don't know if you
like to wear a lot of uniforms, don't they? You know, they like to change every 7 years by default.
I don't know if you've read Desperate Hours.
I've read half of it.
So
yeah,
there's a nice little explanation as to why the Discovery have different uniforms to. I think it's spoiler alert if you don't want to know. Come back in a second.
You say.
The Constitution class ships have that basically, you know, the old TOS style ones, and the Discovery don't.
Now someone's writing it. Now someone's wrote it.
And they have said previously as well that their whole idea is to transition and evolve the style to the TOS as well, because they have that ability now with current production techniques as well. So they'd easily be able to introduce even the color scheme as well. Just look at kind of modern military and navy as well. And like, even if you look at the ships within Discovery, there is quite a plethora of design and technologies, old transporters, new transporters. So they're trying different things and, you know, finding out what works. So it wouldn't be unusual to see a different style of uniform on the Enterprise as well. Kind of cool though.
I like to go back to what you're saying about the handshake, Damien, because that's something that Discovery hasn't had. It hasn't had that handover. If you think of every other series, in the first episode, it's had that lovely moment where the last series actor, you know, even Enterprise had it with Zephyr Cochrane. That'll be good if they did something like that. And like you say, don't make a big deal out of it. I kind of my kind of thoughts with the Enterprise is they're going to get a distress call and the ship will be empty, and they'll get to have a little play on the ship, like in a mirror darkly. With the Defiant, and I have a little play. There might be one character there, might be Pike, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think they'll make a big deal out of it either. But then did you see, I saw the other day actually, not the other day, I saw today or yesterday, Aaron Bayers tweeted like a closed set or something. He said ultimate secrecy, and I thought I didn't think much of it. And now I'm thinking back and thinking,
New bridge.
oh, I wonder if that's a bridge.
Be cool. It would be cool.
Absolutely. Well, before we wrap up, anyone's got any more questions out of Carol, Rob, or Damien? Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just it's going to be a long wait. I like what
are you getting through it? What have you got planned? What can we do as fans to get through this?
Sort of thing gets me through it. Talking about what we've seen in Discovery, going back to old episodes. Like I haven't seen a huge amount of TOS, so I'm going to go back and watch. Try and watch some more of those episodes, especially the Mirror Universe ones. And I think I must have missed out the Mirror Universe ones in Enterprise as well. So I'm going to go back and watch
my favorite.
Watch that.
Yep.
I'm definitely going to go back and watch that. And I'm going to be reading lots of Trek books, obviously.
Yep, absolutely. There's 2 out now, aren't there? So there's Desperate Hours, which was David Max, and there's a new one, Dayton
Ward, isn't it? Yeah.
But that looks good fun.
Yeah, and Lorca's shenanigans. Yeah.
Should be good.
And conventions that'll help.
Conventions, our favorite. Absolutely. Great. So yeah, we're going to get through it with Star Trek conventions, talk, and I think alcohol. I think we're just going to have to drink our way through the year.
Syntaha.
Sure. And whatever Tilly's smoking.
Yeah. What was that, volcanic ash or something?
Sulfur. Yum.
Volcanic ash. Yeah, that's it. Great. Well, thank you both. Thank you for all 3 of us, for 3 of you. I think both, because thank you all for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's my pleasure. Thank you so much. It's been so much fun. This is what we love doing. We love just talking about stuff as soon as we've watched it.
Me too.
About it. Great. Well, thank you ever so much, everyone, for watching, and thanks for your questions. And we'll speak to you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Hailing frequencies.